Content warning. The stories and themes shared throughout this podcast may contain themes that can be distressing for you. If needed, please pause and do what you need to do to take care of yourself. If needed, please reach out to a mental health professional for support.
Welcome back to another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana. But today, hold the Alana and bring in Kari Berridge, like marriage. That's what she said. So Kari's amazing. I met you in Vegas, right?
We
So
did, yeah.
yeah, so we met in Vegas. We were both at the same event, but she's also a fellow Canadian, and she's a multifaceted human being, and she embodies resilience and triumph over life's challenges. She's a dedicated mother, proud grandma, accomplished fitness coach, successful business owner, and inspiring author. In her compelling book, Cut the Anchor, Kari shares her powerful life journey, beginning with her courageous confrontation of limiting self-beliefs. Her story is a testament to her unwavering spirit, which has guided her through a tumultuous path of heartache and transformation. We're not going to talk too much about the rest of your bio because you are so impressive and it's going to go in the show notes, but we're going to have a conversation. And I just want to start off by saying thank you. Thank you for being here.
And thank you for having me to share my voice.
Yeah, and I'll never forget. I think we started talking like we were sitting in like the cafeteria area at this event and we just really definitely connected and you've been through a lot of different struggles and you're going to be featured in our book, Resilient AF Skin Deep Stories, which is so exciting. And we're going to be featuring a tattoo. But before we dive into what your tattoo is and the story behind that, I want to talk about something else that happened. And that's about when your daughter found out about a secret you had. And now that she knows she's estranged from you, and that includes her three children, your grandchildren. Do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah. So September 2022, September 25th, 2022 was probably the lowest day of my life. I had been carrying around a secret for 35 years. And what that secret was, I didn't know who her father was. It could have been one of two people. And I won't really go into too much about how that came to be because it is in my book. But me holding that secret for that long was actually making me really, really ill. And I had been sick for 7 years, but really sick for 2. I was down to 98 pounds. I went to, you name a specialist, I saw that specialist. And they just couldn't figure out, I had so many tests, they couldn't figure out what it was. I was, eliminating different foods and this and that. And as soon as the secret came out, I got better. I got better in terms of the illness.
Wow.
Yeah. But she found out on that Sunday night, and she found out through doing a genealogy kit through
Uh-oh.
23andMe. Yeah. So I got the phone call basically saying she found out through the test that she has a 26% match with a female in Calgary. So that would be her stepsister. And so the man that I had told her was her dad her whole life was not her dad. And I really didn't know it was either one. And so after I found out, I tried to take my life that night.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
And this is hitting me today. I haven't talked about this in a while. So yeah, it was not a good night, obviously, but I woke up. I had taken pills and God didn't want me to join him that night. So I'm still here. And it was about 5 days later, I had already signed up for these personal development courses.
Mhm.
And they basically, I saved my life, but they helped save my life. So I headed down to Calgary for the first one. And through my journey of the last 3 years, yes, I'm super sad that I don't get to see my grandkids and my daughter, but I now want to live again. And I've done incredible things in the last 3 years, and I'm not sick anymore. And my story is all about we all hold so much blame and shame and guilt, and especially as women, And it's toxic. It's just, it destroys your body. It really destroys you. So, yeah.
First of all, thank you for sharing all of that. And like, I can't imagine any of that being easy, not knowing who the father was, holding that in and not sharing that, finding out that she knew because she did a DNA test. And the fact that you attempted to commit suicide and it wasn't your time, and that you
Yeah.
picked yourself back up and got help. Like, and I know this is just a fraction of your story, and I think it's just so honorable for you to talk about this because a lot of times the people in our community, something very big and devastating happens and they think about ending it.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that for a second if
Yeah.
and you're able, if you're able to. Like when you decided this is the end, was it like what was the time like when you decided that to going to sleep? Did you have time to think about it?
I'm going to back up because this part is not in my book, and have not really talked about this, but I will.
Okay.
So that was on the Sunday. On the Saturday, I had my daughter became estranged from me about 3 years before. And it was right in the time when my sister was going through her cancer journey, and my daughter's not young. Like she'll be 38 in December. So it was just not a good time that she became estranged from me the first time. But we went to counseling and everything, and then we were good. And but on there was some things that were happening, and I was just thinking like I just felt on edge a lot when I was with her, and I didn't know like what I was doing wrong, or I was always thinking it was me. So on the Saturday, it's too long of a story, but so I'll just brief it. But I had gone to this CrossFit gym because I was going to join it because her and her husband were joining it. She was extremely mad at me, didn't want me to join it. We kind of she was yelling at me outside. And I said, no, no, no worries. And I was faking that I was okay. I went back in and I canceled my membership. And I said, no, no, it's okay. I won't join. And I went home and I was done. I was done being everyone's punching bag. I was done. Um, I was just done. That's the only way I can explain it. I was done with being here. And so I had a friend who had been suicidal throughout his life. And when I say friend, I'm going to say loosely. I thought he was a really good friend. I called him over and I called him and I said, I'm not doing well. I need you to come over. And he said, do you need me right now? Or, because I'm at a thing. I said, I'm going to leave my house. So I'm not here. I'm going to go to a movie and I'll be back at 5. Can you come at 5:05? Because I knew I wasn't good. He came over. I cried for 2 hours. And in that 2 hours, I told him 12 times that I was going to end my life that night. And at the end of the 2 hours of crying and telling him everything, because it was like a lot of stuff was going on in my life right then, not just that. There was a lot going on. He stood up and screamed at me at the top of his lungs, said, I can't handle you right now, and walked out the door.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I cried myself to sleep. It was not a good night. And it was everything I could do not to end my life that night. And so then the next day, my daughter had texted me and said, I know you're teaching piano right now, but I need to talk to you. It's not about yesterday when we had the fight. But I was always the mom that dropped everything for her kids. And I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I said, I have a meeting tonight, which I did. I said, I have a meeting tonight. I'll text you when I'm done. Well, it was during that time frame that she found out. So she didn't know when she texted me, but she had some questions. And then it was when I got out of my meeting, there was a message saying, call me now. And I called her and I don't remember. It was a 30-minute drive home. I don't remember the drive home. I was just bawling, telling her everything. because I had never told anybody that secret for 35 years. Not one person knew. So it all just fell out. Everything about, the secret. And so when I got home, I was still talking to her and I was sitting on the back of my back step inside the house. And then as soon as we hung up, she said, I need time. And I said, absolutely take your time. But I knew that meant I'll never see her again. I just knew it. So we hung up. I phoned my son. I have twins and I'm really close to the one. I phoned him and I said, I love you. I'm proud of you. I'm so glad you're my son. And I hung up. I phoned his wife and I said, same thing. So proud of you. I'm so grateful that you're my daughter-in-law. I love you. And I hung up and I walked upstairs. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I deadbolted both my doors, my front door and back door. I went upstairs and I pushed a set of dresser drawers in front of my bed, my door. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe it would be harder for them, whoever, to get in to save me. I don't know. And then I just pulled out opened up my drawer, my nightstand, and I took the bottle of pills. So to answer your question, it was it was right away. But it had led the day before what had happened had led up to, I honestly didn't think anyone cared about me.
Wow.
After what my friend did, and I won't use names, but after he did what he did the day before, and then after my daughter, I just thought there's not one person that would even care if I was dead.
I would care.
Oh, I know now.
Oh my
This is
God,
hard. I haven't talked about this,
Kari.
like I said, for a year. I now know that I have
It's heavy.
a ton of people in my corner. I now know
Heavy.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a ton of people that care.
I just want to acknowledge that, like, I know it's not easy to talk about this, and I am so sorry you went through this. Like, my heart is broken for you. And I'm really happy it didn't work because you weren't done your assignment here,
Yeah.
on Earth. And so you take the pills, you think you're going away forever, and you wake up. What
Hmm.
happened right when you opened your eyes? Like, was that a shock? Like, tell me
Yeah.
about, like, when you woke up, what that was like.
Yeah. So I woke up and I was like really groggy, and there were some pills, kind of like that I hadn't taken. I guess they'd fallen on the floor, but I was like really groggy. And I just laid there for I don't know how long, realizing that I was still alive. And I did not tell anyone. I did not tell anybody. So that was on the Monday. And I knew I was heading down to Calgary on the Thursday. And so I didn't talk to anyone for 4 days. I felt really sick on the first day. And then it was everything I could do to get into the car and drive down. But when I got down there on the Thursday night, so basically something broke inside of me. I come from a long line of secrets, just a long line of secrets, and something broke inside of me that I was done with secrets. I was just done with secrets.
Hmm.
And when I got down to my mom and dad's house, and I don't share anything with them, but on that Thursday night, they were downstairs watching TV when I got there, and I went down and I asked if we could turn the TV off for a second. And I told them. I told them what I had done, told them what happened. And from that moment on, everybody knows everything. And then maybe there's a time to hold things in, but not for me, not right
Right.
now. I'm very, very open about, I'm an open book now. And that's when I decided to write my book
Hmm.
and to leave the legacy of the secrets end with me.
Yeah. And, like, breaking that intergenerational, like, trauma is so important. And, like, thank you again for explaining what it was like when you woke up and, realizing that you were still here. And I can't imagine what that would have been like. And still having to navigate life that you thought you were leaving behind. And, you know, that was a few years ago.
3 years, it'll be 3 years this September. Yeah.
And so right now we're recording, it's, this episode's going to be out September 2025. 3 years ago to now, what do you think some of the biggest like differences are in your mental health?
Oh, so much. Every day I'm grateful that I'm here. Every single day I'm grateful I'm here.
Yeah.
I realize I have so many friends and so many people that love me, so many people that support me, even if it's like on the sidelines and they're not outwardly there, but I know that they're there. I have helped so many people so far with my first book, Cut the Anchor. I've spoken on stages with that book. Given many speeches at Toastmasters. Uh, and then, of course, I've written a second book, but I have just shared my story with so many people, and I have gotten incredible feedback that people have gone through the same exact thing, or if it's not the exact same thing, very similar things, and that I've helped show them that you can move on.
Hmm.
And I don't hold any ill will towards my daughter. I really don't. I definitely have sad moments.
Yeah.
Um, because I just saw a picture of my oldest grandson. He'll be starting grade 9. And the last time I saw him, he was starting grade 6. And he's taller, his hair is a different color. He looks totally different. And of course, I had a little cry because I I lost those 3 years. But she's going through her journey. That's the other thing a lot of people haven't really understood about me is why I'm not super angry and bitter. I have no room to be bitter. And I did, I did something to her, not on purpose, but still it affected her. And so she's on her journey and there's nothing I can do about it. I can
Yeah.
just be here for if they ever come back. And that was a huge thing.
And that's a really beautiful perspective. And like, I really hope she comes back because she's so lucky to have a mom that's alive. Because,
Yeah.
well, mine is not. In
Hmm.
the meantime, I'm just a couple years older than her. If you need an
Hmm.
extra daughter, but I think that perspective is really important because in healing, what I've really learned is like I'm in control of me. I
Hmm.
can't control anyone else, but I can control how I am and how I behave and how I act. And that's
Yeah.
really like lifted a lot of heaviness off my shoulders. And it seems like you're doing the same. And I think, with you showing up authentically and making things right in the way you can and being honest, writing your books, speaking about it, it's clearing that heaviness. And I'm excited to follow along your journey and see where things end up. And everything we spoke about today, it's really heavy. So I just want to say before we kind of transition to your tattoo, if you are listening to this and you can relate to Kari or you are in that place of thinking of ending it, please reach out to either of us.
Mm.
Like you are not alone. Like we need you here. Like you're not done yet. And like you will get through it. You will get through it. So, you know, we want to hear your story. We want to be here for you. We want to hold you and hold space for you. So please connect if you need support. As a reminder, I'm a grief and resilience coach. So I'm here to actually help support you in that. Um, and I want to thank you for sharing all that because I can't imagine it being easy to share about some of your lowest moments or what's happening in your family system. So you're going to be featured in Skin Deep Stories, which comes out early December 2025. And tell me about your tattoo.
Yeah. So I got it. My sister, unfortunately passed, from lung cancer. And she was just an absolutely beautiful soul. And so I got a tattoo for her, and it says we only part to meet again, and it's a butterfly.
Mm,
And I had asked her, I have a couple, great stories about that. I had asked her to come back as a butterfly.
mm,
And I haven't quite figured this part out. So she was still alive when I ran a race. She was going through her cancer journey at the time. And I ran a race. It's an ultra marathon race. It's down in the Crow's Nest Pass. And I was getting ready to run my leg of it. And this butterfly came and sat on my backpack. And it stayed there for an hour and a half. And people kept coming by going, "What's with the butterfly?" Now she wasn't passed yet, but there's got to be something about that. So that was super cool. And then I was in Mexico. It would have been maybe 3 years after she passed. And the people that I was with, I had told them about the butterfly. And I was doing I'm scared of heights and or I'm working on it. So my fear is less. And I was doing a cenote jump, like a zip line into water. And so I was 80 feet up, so really scary. And I did it. And then the lady swam over to me and she goes, "Oh, your sister was with us." I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, a blue butterfly flew underneath you, flew the whole time you were ziplining. And then as soon as you jumped, the butterfly flew away. And we didn't see any other butterflies that whole day. And then 6 months later, I was in, again, one of the personal development courses because I took 4 of them. I was in, I believe it was Texas, and I was doing a high wire thing. Again, getting over the fear, but I was still a little bit afraid. And nobody knew about the butterflies. So I did my thing, touched the tree, and then I came down. And then the whole group, I think there was 10 of us, they all ran over to me and they said, "We haven't seen any like butterflies or bugs or anything this whole trip, but there was this blue butterfly that flew underneath you the whole time. And then as soon as you came down, it flew away." And so that's why I just love my butterfly tattoo for her. And
I
yeah,
love it. That's
yeah,
beautiful. What's your sister's name?
Dory.
Dory.
Yeah.
Well, may Dory's memory be a blessing. And can you repeat the quote on the Dory tattoo?
We only part to meet again.
I love that. I love the butterflies and like the tattoo and the quote. And I think what's really cool about that is I think a lot of people who've experienced loss resonate with like something like butterflies or bumblebees or birds. And,
Yeah,
I
feather.
definitely do. But I think how specific that is and where the blue butterfly shows up is so beautiful. And I
Yeah.
know you're going to talk more about that in your story. So I think that's really awesome. And what a beautiful way to honor Dory.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, you've had a whole big journey. We only covered like some of it
Yeah.
because we don't have, we don't have, I mean, we do have time, but we don't have time.
Yeah.
Um, Out of everything you've navigated and like where you are now, what is your advice for someone going through something similar? Maybe facing estrangement with a family member or losing their sister or contemplating ending it all.
You are not alone. And even like I thought I had a friend on the Saturday and I didn't.
Hmm.
If you reach out to someone and they're not the right person, there is somebody that cares. There is always somebody that cares. You are not alone. That is, one of my biggest pieces of I don't like advice, but that I would say that you're
Yeah,
not alone. And like you said earlier, if you really think you're alone, please reach out to me or like you said yourself. I am here for anybody that wants to talk.
yes, you
Yeah.
are not alone. You are not
You're
alone.
not alone.
You're not alone.
Even when you think you are at the darkest, deepest despair, I guarantee somebody cares. They just don't know what you're going through. You have to reach out.
That's great advice. And now I have one side quest question. The movie you went to before you had your ex-friend, meet you at 5:05. What movie was it?
You know what? I do not even remember.
Wow.
I don't. I just knew I needed to be out of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just my ADHD. I'm like, I wonder what movie it was.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Wow. It's so interesting, like when you're going through something, how like I've been in trauma where like I've fully blacked out and like months are missing,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, it's like your body's protecting you.
Oh, 100%. My body has protected me for my whole entire life. There's things
Yeah.
that are coming out now that, yeah, that I had blocked out for years and years and years.
Sounds like you have a lot more books coming.
Yes, I do.
So, if you want to read the first few chapters of Kari's book, she's giving it away in the show notes, or you can purchase it, which would also be really awesome for her because we love to support our community. So, Cut the Anchor is available. Where can you buy the book?
On my website. So fit2 with a number two, fit2motivate.net.
Amazing. And all
Yeah.
those links are below in the show notes. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me and letting me share my voice.
Always. And to everyone who tuned in for another episode of our podcast, thank you. Thank you for trusting us with your time and your energy. Thank you for being you and for being here. And like Kari and I both spoke about, you are not alone. You don't have to walk the hard stuff alone. We are here to do it for you, with you. Let us be that lighthouse in the storm. And remember, you are resilient AF. Welcome back to another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana. But you may notice that Alana is not here with me today unless you're listening because you can't see with your ears. You could read with your ears, but you can't see with your ears. And if you can, that's cool. But I'm here today with Aly Rice. Aly Rice is a resilience and reinvention expert, coach, host of 2 podcasts, and a motivational speaker. She spent over 20 years as a corporate interior designer before being thrust into her new life. It was in a short span of time, she endured the profound losses of both parents, her beloved dog, and a deeply personal betrayal that shattered her world. At her breaking point, she made a pivotal choice to rise, reclaim her voice, and rebuild from the inside out. She is an ACC credited coach through the International Coaching Federation, certified imposter syndrome coach practitioner, and certified success principles facilitator trained by the one and only Jack Canfield. She's the host of Sex, Lies, and Tacos, the podcast, and This Could Get Messy, the podcast. She's also the creator of the Survival to Thrival Guide, which is absolutely amazing. And when she's not focused on helping women navigate the chaos of change, silence their inner critics, and create lives that are fully their own, you can find her exploring new places, paddleboarding on the water, out for a walk with her dog, Poppy, or meeting me for coffee because we live down the highway from each other. Welcome, Aly.
Thank you so much. Wow, that's quite an intro. It's a mouthful.
You know what? It's so funny. So podcasting works. So people have podcasts for many reasons. For me, this podcast plus our other one, it was used to be called Radical Resilience, but we rebranded, which it still exists, but we don't have new episodes because now it's Resilient AF. But we created this as a place and a platform for people to share their stories of resilience, to help people strengthen their resilience muscles, to be that lighthouse in the storm. And but a lot of people start podcasts for marketing, which essentially this does marketing. And my background, my first love is marketing and public relations. I've been doing it for 2 decades. And podcasting is a brilliant way to do that, being a guest or having your own show. And Aly, do you want to share how you learned about the Global Resilience Project and then the synchronicities about like how our relationship evolved?
Yes. Well, actually, it was of course, I created my podcast, Sex, Lies, and Tacos, and I was interviewed on another podcast, and I shared the name of my podcast, which then drew some listeners. And somebody reached out to me after listening to that original podcast and then mine, and she's like, one of my episodes is called Resilient AF, and this listener reached out to me and said, "Oh my God, you need to get in connection with Blair. She has a podcast called Resilient AF. She has books called Resilient AF, and you are the founder of the Global Resilience Project." And so I was like, "Wow, I better check this person out." And she also referenced Get Griefy, the magazine, and so I did a little bit of research about you, and I was like, wow, this Blair person, she's kind of living this life that I'm trying to create. I really need to reach out to her. And so I did reach out to you. Initially, I didn't realize that we just lived down the highway from each other. But it was
like,
just
what that means is like we're like an hour and a half-ish, 2 hours away from each other.
Yeah, but the person that reached out to me, I think she lives in the United States. Like
Yeah.
I don't share where I live. You're not really super explicit about where you live. So it's just, I don't believe in coincidences. And I believe that we were brought into each other's lives for a reason. And I'm so grateful that I learned about you because you're a pretty cool person.
Oh,
So
well, you're pretty cool. And like, so I just want to say on my end, like, it was really cool to connect when I first connected with you because we worked together on something else. But
mhm.
learning about you and your story and that you were so close, we actually had the privilege of meeting this spring. Was it, or was it summer? Every day
Yeah.
feels, yeah, June, spring, summer.
Mhm.
And we actually had the privilege of meeting in person, and it was awesome. And knowing that we live so close to each other, like knowing that we can see each other more frequently, it's amazing. And getting to introduce you in person to other co-authors that have been in past
Cool.
books and your book. And it's just really cool when we meet people who are on similar paths that live in the same area because our network is the Global Resilience Project. We have people in Ghana, we have people in Romania, all
Yeah.
over the US, but it's really cool when you're in the same region and we can just like hop in the car and see each other. So super grateful for the universe putting us in the same place. And, you know, your story, part of your story, because you have a very big story, is going to be featured in Resilient AF Skin Deep Stories, which comes out this December, first week of December. Tell me about your tattoo.
Sure. So it's a tattoo that is down my spine, and it's just simple. It's script, and it says, "Let it hurt, let it bleed, let it heal, and let it go." So I, as you alluded to, have a pretty big story. It's what Sex, Lies, and Tacos is all about. You mentioned parts of it, but basically, I lost both of my parents and my dog, and then went through a really horrible betrayal in a relationship that ended up with death threats, being a victim of revenge porn, leading me to a mental health breakdown and a leave of absence from work, and then ultimately getting laid off from my job. And so at that time, it was just a lot of things layering on top of each other. And I was feeling really lost and really broken. And somewhere along the way, I came across this mantra. And I decided, without a lot of thought, I decided to get it tattooed down my spine. But when I was having it tattooed, it started to dawn on me that it was almost like I was having the ink stitched into my spine to help me to stand up a little taller, to start to gain my power back, and to start to live by that mantra. You know, first, you let it hurt. You let it hurt for as long as it's got to hurt. You let it bleed, but then in time, you can let it heal and you can let it go. And let it go doesn't mean forgetting, it just means it doesn't consume you every day. And so that's really the story of my tattoo.
That's that's first of all, I love the placement of it. I think it's really cool. I've obviously seen it, and you can see it too when you purchase our book or on our website because we believe every story should be shared. Once the book is out, every story is available on our website. Where did do you remember where you saw this mantra?
Oh, it was probably just a Pinterest or like Google, give me some kind of
Yeah.
strength kind of thing, like just in the middle of the night when I wasn't sleeping. But I came across it a few times, and I just thought it really is so powerful because it's, we hear about the stages of grief, the stages of all of the things, but that really is the stage of healing in my opinion and
Hmm.
experience. And so, um, you know, I do think there's something to the placement. Obviously, I can't see it, but I know it's there. And
Yeah,
it does help me to walk a little taller.
it does. I mean, I love that you just referenced that you felt like it was being stitched into your spine. I think that's such a great visual.
Yeah.
And it's your entire almost your entire spine.
Yeah.
Why
And
did you
I'm really tall, so
Yeah.
it takes up a lot of space. I'm only 5'1".
Yeah, we're the
Um,
same height. I love
yeah.
it. So what like drew you to a spine tattoo?
It really wasn't conscious until it was actually happening because I'm like, this can hurt. Like this doesn't sound pleasant, but it didn't hurt as much as what I had experienced. And
Hmm.
I think it was in you know, the laying face down while it was happening. And it really started to dawn on me that I think I already said, I don't believe in coincidences. There's no coincidence that I ended up having it put on my spine as a way
Yeah.
to help me stand taller. So yeah,
Was
it
that was that your first tattoo?
no, No, I have several. My body sort of unintentionally became this map of things that I needed to overcome. I
Mm-hmm.
need to celebrate. My body has words tattooed on it. And ironically enough, I have the word resilient tattooed on me as well. And so somehow it wasn't planned. My body has become this sort of canvas for documenting the hard things that I have managed to get through, as well as, like special words that my parents said to me in their handwriting and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I'm also very tattooy. What do you remember your first tattoo? Like how old you were and what it is? And
Oh, yeah, it's not one that we're proud of, but I was 16 and so my parents were teachers, like principals. And so you don't skip school when that's the case. But I did skip school one day when I was 16 and I drove to the big city and I got a tattoo and I didn't hide it from them. And it was just this ugly sun that you pick off the wall and it's blue and purple and like nothing special, nothing memorable or anything. But it's since been covered up. But yeah, like my parents were a part of it. They didn't approve, but
where on your body?
my upper butt.
Oh
like,
my
like
gosh. I have a tribal son that's a tramp stamp too, and it's covered up with a huge ass feather. You know, I
we were thinking the bigger picture when we're 16. But
no, I
that's
just want it to be cool.
yeah. But what's funny is my cover up is even worse than the original.
Oh gosh.
I wanted it to be a heart and it's black. It's this big black blob, but it doesn't matter. It's on my butt / hip. Nobody sees it. I've been more careful in the tattoos moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I find that like as we get older, they become more intentional.
Mhm.
Mine is like I just got some on my ear just for fun, but like that's awesome. I love that.
Sorry, there for you not hearing that. I pulled my hair back, and you can see that I have some hearts on my ear.
Yeah, yeah, the ear tattoo is just kind of like, oh, this might look cool, and it's like three like lines, like
Love it.
three cuffs, and I have a heart on the inside of my ear, right on the heart acupressure point.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Okay, I want to talk about like so you're the mantra. The
Mhm.
mantra, the first part is let it hurt.
Yeah,
What does that mean to you?
it's okay to feel like you're falling apart. It's okay to sit in your messy feelings. It's okay to want to give up. It's okay. You're allowed. You've just been through something. You're allowed. Feel it.
Hmm. Right. And you have to feel in order to heal. Like I truly
Yeah.
believe that.
I've tried other things, numbing things, ignoring things,
Yep.
digging my head into Netflix, all of those things. And works in the moment doesn't necessarily help you to heal.
No. Numbing is like just delaying the healing or even making the pain worse. You know, it's like picking that wound that eventually becomes this like deep scar or
Yeah.
maybe never heals. And yeah, I totally agree. And like what I really love is you went through this. That's not what I love. I don't love that you went through this, but what I
Hey,
love is the
made
outcome.
me stronger. Mhm.
You know, you became this resilience and reinvention expert, which is so different than like interior design.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how did that happen? Like, what was it like a light bulb moment? Was it slow evolving? Like, let's talk about that because that's really cool.
Yeah. They couldn't be further from each other. I think that what was happening sort of under the surface for me for many years was I wasn't super fulfilled at work. And it didn't matter if I changed employers, I wasn't super fulfilled. It was just a job. And I was living in a place of I should do this. It's a good job. It's got benefits. It's got vacation. It's got pension. So I was doing the things that I should do.
Hmm.
And then when everything started to kind of crumble in my life, from the moment I lost my mom to lost my job, the bookends was December 2019 to January 2024. So it was all, and most of the stuff was happening at the exact same time.
Hmm.
It was a very condensed timeline of trauma and grief. And sitting in my pain and my healing, and that looked like me getting still and getting quiet and starting to evaluate all areas of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And a big part of my life was that I wasn't happy in my job. It just, I don't want to use the words, it wasn't serving me, but I'd lost my sparkle. It wasn't me. And so then in the healing, in the bleeding, in the trying to figure out what the point of this whole thing was, because in my previous traumas, I just played victim and I was like, why is this happening to me? My life is hard, all of those things. But in this scenario, I was like, what's the point? What is the universe trying to tell me? And I really think it was to pause, to reevaluate your life, to stop doing the things that you should be doing. And maybe the part in particular with my relationship and the revenge porn and the death threats, maybe this needed to happen to me because I was strong enough to stand up, not only to stop him, but to maybe become a voice for other people who find themselves in similar situations. And so, you know, that certainly was not an overnight process, but it was in that realization that I thought maybe coaching could be a thing. You know, during this time, I had a therapist and a coach. Coaching really helped me to move through it. And, you know, to become a podcaster, they certainly do not teach you that in interior design school. I had no idea what I was doing. But it just became this powerful catalyst for me to start, you know, figuring out what my purpose is.
That's it's really harrowing. And like a lot of times people who say similar, you know, similar lines to learning what my purpose is, it's about when they hit these rock bottom moments of like extreme grief and like loss of identity. You know, what if we didn't have to wait till we had those moments to do that, right? And then there's people like you who have this voice who can be that person that's standing there with the megaphone saying, you know, you can get through it. You can reinvent yourself. And if you're okay with it, I'd love to dive into a portion of some of your story. Like parent loss is the absolute worst. Pet loss is so terrible. You know, I can personally relate, like all of that is really terrible. I want to talk a bit more about your harassment and revenge porn and
Sure.
talk about what you want, but should we maybe let's define what revenge porn is because I don't think everyone knows, and then perhaps share that portion of the story and what you're comfortable sharing.
Well, I'll keep it short. I'm very comfortable. It's all out there on Sex, Lies, and Tacos, but all the cringy details. But revenge porn essentially is when somebody takes your intimate photos or video, any kind of intimate content, and shares it without your consent. So I was in a long distance relationship with somebody. He lived in Mexico. He was a resort worker in Mexico. There's a whole big story for how I found myself in this situation that I'm not proud of, but I'm owning. It is what it is. I was in a long distance relationship with him. And there was a period of time where we couldn't see each other. And, you know, long distance relationships are hard enough, but it's hard to, you know, keep things exciting, spicy, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, you know, pictures and videos were shared. I sent them to him. He sent them to me. Fast forward to us being together for almost a year. I learned that he actually married another woman, another Canadian woman, while we were dating each other. I happened to be traveling to Mexico, the same part of Mexico that he was in, on the day that his wedding was happening. No idea. Don't believe in coincidences. Anyway. Fast forward a few months, I end up reaching out to the woman that he married because I felt she had the right to know that he had been unfaithful to both of us. In doing so, she decided to end the relationship, and then obviously he was not very happy. So what he did was blackmail me. He threatened me on many different levels, and used those intimate pictures and videos as a way of saying, if you don't tell the woman that I married that you made this all up, I'm going to release them. Well, the woman that he married knew that I did not make it up. And so he released my intimate pictures, and he plastered them over every social media platform. He tagged me in them. He tagged my large corporate employers' social media, and he also emailed them to work. And so, as anyone might imagine, that's to say it's devastating and humiliating and really hard to work through.
Mm-hmm.
Be an understatement. You know, we hear about it happening with kids, and quite often when that happens, people choose to end their lives because you don't know how you can get through it. When it happens to a 44-year-old woman, you think, how could you be so stupid? How could you be so naive? People don't talk about when it happens to somebody in their 40s who are, you know, intelligent, have their careers, all of those things. So there's a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of humiliation around it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So when that happened, that actually was 6 weeks after my dad died. So I'm processing the grief of losing my second parent while then dealing with revenge porn at work. And so I was actually struggling before the revenge porn with identity loss, with the grief of losing my parents and feeling like, where do I belong? But I didn't feel like it was an okay time to take time off of work. It's such a stupid statement I'm about to make, but I felt like people would think I was using it as an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, just, you know, stuff it down, just carry on, pretend to be happy. Because I was working for people who didn't understand grief, hadn't lost their family members. But when the revenge porn thing happened, and when it entered into my workplace, I put a white flag up and I said, I can't do this. I need to take a leave of absence, a mental health break. And so I actually took 6 months off of work. Many people are not able to do that. Many people would not even consider that, or would think they're too busy to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was just so dark for me. There was no other option. And so, but it was in that getting quiet, and possibly because of the revenge porn and the death threats that followed, that it forced me to do all the hard work. The bleeding, it was gushing.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot.
You let it hurt.
I let it really hurt. And it still hurts, as you can tell. But yeah.
That's devastating.
Yeah.
I don't think, just personally, I don't think how, you know, like, I think that's fair in a long distance adult relationship to do that and send photos. Like, you know, everyone's on their own journey. When you first shared this story with me offline, I never thought any of those things. I thought, wow, that is terrible. And I felt for you, never once any sort of judgment. And our community doesn't think that, because I mean, like, I like to think that people are better than your ex. And like, I don't know what sane person would do something like that.
Yeah, not this one.
No, and
And I think it's easy for people to, when it's not you in the situation,
mhm.
it's easy to say, I would never, or to place judgment. There's a whole series of events that most people would never have, that I would never have, but it still ended up happening. I still ended up in these situations. And so I
Right.
think until you're in something, you don't know how you would react or respond. And would I
And
do things differently? Yes.
but you
All
didn't
of the
know though,
things.
because you were in a relationship with someone you trusted,
Yeah, I didn't know
right?
that he had multiple people in this relationship with us, let alone a fiance. But
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think also like the fact that It happened after losing your parent, and you're also now grieving the relationship, and now some of your most private moments are exposed. There's so many layers to that. And it's kind of when you are, you know, that vulnerable, that, like you're like a crumbled cookie where it's like, all right, like let's take a minute, let's be still. And the fact that you were able to take time off is such a gift. And that you're still here is such a gift. And it was in those moments that you probably realized it's time for a change,
I
right?
had two options: give up and not be here anymore,
Hmm.
or find meaning in it and make it the catalyst for something else. And while I would not ever sign up for it again, do not recommend. I have come to, in my healing, in my letting go, of finding a way to figure out how to be grateful
Hmm.
for it, not for the all of the things in it, but for who I am now because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, not only are you like very certified now as a coach, but you have this lived experience specifically in resilience and reinvention,
Yeah.
right? And so if anyone out there is listening to this and you need support through something, like reach out to Aly. Her contact information is below. And I want to thank you for sharing that with us. I know it's not an easy story to share. People can go a little deeper on your podcast. But I think it's an important conversation because it brings us back to reality of what could happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the goal in sharing it really was first and foremost around my healing.
Hmm.
But now that it's being spread out wider, it's the people that are writing to me who are saying, I see myself in your story in any number of the ways. Or I thought I was the only one that felt like that, or I've done similar things. And it's the helping people so that they don't
Hmm.
feel so alone. And like, I also get nasty comments about how stupid I am and how I deserve this and all of those things. But like, the truth is, I share it all so that people don't feel alone, and they know that if they need someone to support them, I'm here without judgment, no matter what the situation is.
Hmm. I think that's beautiful. And, turning pain into purpose and being that catalyst for someone else's potential change and healing is so important. What to you is like the meaning of resilient AF? Like you have it tattooed on your body. I have it tattooed on my body. It's, a podcast episode for you. It's a whole movement, part of our movement here at the Global Resilience Project with our podcast and our books, some of our clothing. What does being resilient AF mean to you?
I think it means um, being strong enough to get through these things. Life's going to continue to whip hard stuff at us, these curveballs that we don't see coming. We can't prepare for it. But it's about having them come at us, figuring out how to heal, how to get through it, and how to learn from it. I used to think that resilience was bouncing back. I don't think we're bouncing back anymore because we're not the same person after these things have happened. I think um, it's about, I don't want to use toxic positivity and about everything happens for a reason, but it's about working through the things and starting to understand what we can learn from it. And then
Mhm.
maybe the next curveball doesn't hit us quite the same way.
Yes. And I totally agree. We define resilience as bouncing forward because you're not going back. And, if you're listening to this and you're going through like a reinvention and you're like, need some guidance, I would say maybe you are the queen of reinvention.
I mean, I try. Self-appointed queen.
So, as we wrap up, I'd love for you to share what's a piece of advice for someone who is like struggling with loss of identity, losing their purpose in the sense of like maybe significant grief of people they love or jobs. What is your advice to them?
Well, I mean, I certainly have struggled with identity loss through all of those things. And I mean, the overarching advice is it's okay to feel these things. It's okay to feel lost. It's okay to not know what to do. I still often wonder who I am in this new life I'm creating. But one thing that really helped me to move through things was to focus on one thing each day. What's one thing that's small enough to get done, but big enough to matter? And some days that might look like making your bed. Some days that might look like going for a walk. Other days it might look like, recording a podcast. It might look like deciding that you want to change your career and doing research around that. So it's just try not to look at it's breaking it down into smaller pieces, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. It's okay to have this identity loss, but like start taking smaller pieces to start working towards who you want to be.
Yeah.
Who you could be now that these things have happened.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful advice. Well, thank you for joining us on Resilient AF today.
Thank you.
You're such a bright light. And if you're listening to this and you want to connect with Aly, you can. In the show notes is her info. And if you're walking through a hard season, know that you're not alone. Like, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to just take life one moment at a time, put one foot in front of the other. You're not going to be here forever. You're going to keep going forward. You're going to move through it. Let us be that lighthouse in the storm, and know that, friends, you are resilient AF. Thank you. That's a wrap for another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana. And thank you for listening. Are you feeling inspired to bounce forward?
Let's connect at theglobalresilienceproject.com, where you can read many stories of resilience, buy our books, shop our clothing line, learn more about how to strengthen your resilience muscle, be empowered, and more.
Remember, friends, you are resilient AF.